Yesterday I was walking around a display home and I wasn't even thinking about my body, but I caught a glimpse of myself from the side in one of the full-length mirrors in the house. Now, before we left home, I'd had a bit of a battle with myself. I'd struggled to find something that I felt comfortable in to wear. All of my tops sort of didn't feel like they were sitting right, and I felt like they were sitting on some of the lumps and bumps. I've been super bloated the last few days, and so my tummy was really sticking out, and I just wasn't really feeling comfortable before I left the house. Then when I saw my reflection from the side and noticed that there was, a bit of a bra bulge here at the top, my first thought was, oh, that looks disgusting. And my second thought was, I need to adjust the way my bra's sitting so that I can cover that up, which I did. My third thought was, wow, how interesting. Who am I worried about is going to be noticing what's happening in my clothing today? And next was, why do I even care? It's, I think, something that we often struggle with is, what are other people going to think about our appearance, the way that we look, the way that our bodies are? And it got me thinking, where do we learn these messages about our bodies? And I know for me, I don't think it's a single defining moment, but rather, things that I picked up over time. I do know, and maybe this is the case for you, that other women can really pinpoint exact moments or a moment where someone made a comment or comments that have really stuck with them. For me, I picked up really early that women's bodies needed to be managed. I was taught, not to dress provocatively, because my body could then lead me into trouble with the opposite sex. Magazines and media and pop culture, I used to, absolutely devour shows like America's Next Top Model. They taught me that the ideal body was thin and smooth and polished. And in my early teenage years, I can remember feeling so self-conscious in my body. I certainly don't think that I'm alone in that. And, being at school holiday swimming lessons and, being so self-conscious of the way that I stood, or whether or not my boobs stuck out or my tummy sat flat when I sat down, and, and wondering what was different about the other girls in my class who were confident in a bikini, and, assuming that the problem was me and my body. There was another experience when I was 18. I was going to be in my sister-in-law's wedding. My mother-in-law-to-be, who had a very different body shape than mine, a much, a pear, what we call a pear shape. I'm bigger up here and fairly straight up and down, and she was having so much difficulty making the bridesmaid's dress fit me, that she said to me, "Have you gained weight in the last week?" And that moment absolutely has stuck with me, and especially because I was fervently losing weight, so that I would fit my dress for the wedding. We're constantly given the message, whether it's overtly or more subtle, that we should be aiming for smoother, smaller, and that's better. If you go for a walk around the women's clothing department, you will see shapewear designed to smooth everything out. You'll see bras advertised so that they eliminate the bra bulge. You'll see jeans with tummy controlling panels. You'll see phrases about the place like covering up your mum tum, your back fat, not having that chub rub so your legs don't rub. And, while I'm absolutely not opposed to women wearing clothes that make them feel comfortable and good about themselves, what I do take issue with is that we are not able to feel comfortable unless we eliminate those things. It's ingrained in us to see our body as something to fix. I've had a client recently who started training for her long-term health, and one of our first conversations, she noted that it's not about the weight so much, but every time she goes into a shop and sees the clothing size on the tag, she judges herself based on that number. And I know that she battles with, how do I make it not about the weight loss? And suddenly weight loss, feels like the most important thing again. We've really been taught from many places that weight loss is the ultimate goal for moving your body. And, it gets me thinking, what does weight loss represent for her? What does it represent for me? What does it represent for you? Is it success, approval, a sense of control? Does she believe underneath it all still that a smaller body equals a better body? And I know that I've 100% been there, and exercise for a number of years, its sole purpose was to control my body, to make it smaller, to make it look a particular way, to make sure that it didn't gain weight. And, I'd be being dishonest if I didn't say that those thoughts don't creep in, that I don't see the things come up on social media every year, every week, every month even, about, this is finally the program that's going to fix everything and you'll finally lose the weight. And, they are tempting. And it's hard at times not to buy into that story. So I choose to be intentional about the way that I move and making it be something that is not about how my body looks, but about how my body performs, about how it allows me to participate in my life, about the opportunities that it gives me because I can do things. And that's a real shift from many years ago. And I wonder, when you think about exercise and your body, what is it for you? It's so common and so accepted for many of us to comment on the way that another person's bodies look. And although I don't remember a specific moment for myself when someone's commented on mine or I've made a comment, I absolutely know others who have been terribly hurt by the comments that another person has made about their body. I know others who have been questioned, were they pregnant when they weren't, which then obviously leaves both parties feeling absolutely terrible. And what I wonder is, if we stop commenting on not only our own bodies, but other people's bodies, are we then, and I believe we are, making the space for all bodies in all stages of life to be acceptable exactly as they are? It's really hard because thinness is praised, smaller is praised, weight loss is praised. And I know in my own experience, years ago when I lost 22 kilos, I've never received more compliments about the way that I looked than I did at that time. And it really struck me from, from being in a larger body to then being in a much smaller body, how invisible you can be when you're in a larger body. It's, fatness. I don't know about you, but it's actually, although I truly do not think that there is anything wrong with being in a larger body, saying the word fat, using that language, unconsciously has a negative, a negative energy attached to it. It actually even translates to the medical world. If you are in a larger body and you go to the doctor and complain about something that doesn't feel quite right, one of the first things they want to do is to tell you to lose weight. The second thing they want to do is to get you to jump on a scale. And for many people in larger bodies, their health concerns are not taken seriously because they're in a larger body. People assume, and back in the day, I would have been guilty of this also, that if you're in a larger body, that you don't care about your health, that you're lazy, that you're not fit, and it's just bullshit. It's just rubbish. And it's so important that we catch the things that we say to ourselves about our bodies, and that we also become aware of the things that we say and think about other people's bodies. Within my own family circle, members have gone to other members in the family and said, what are we going to do about these members that are living in larger bodies at the moment, like as if that's a problem for them to solve. We say things like, we make judgments and comments like, oh, they've let themselves go. And even gyms can be unsafe spaces. The message that we see that's presented is, of a particular type of body, moving in a particular way, and if you're not in a body that looks like that, a gym doesn't necessarily feel like a safe space, and overall well-being is not necessarily the first message that's being presented. Smaller is being presented as, the number one goal. A particular look is the number one goal. But whether you achieve that because you're not eating anything, because you're exercising multiple times a day, because you're stressed out, because you don't feel like you're valuable unless you have a particular aesthetic, that's actually not valued. That's not considered. Your whole person is often not taken into consideration. So, what are we afraid of? If our body changes, if it's not as small as it was when we were 20, if it changes because we've had a baby, if it changes because we've gone through menopause, what are we afraid of? Of being less than, of being thought of as less than, of losing approval, of people thinking poorly of us? What do we lose, though, in our life by constantly trying to shrink ourselves? We lose a whole lot of time on that cycle of, all right, this is the thing I'm going to do now that's finally going to make me lose those kilos, that we repeat multiple times a year, every year. We lose joy because we're caught up in what the outside of us looks like and how we make that mean things. We miss out on experiences. I know myself that I spent years watching my kids swim and just standing with my ankles in the water because I wouldn't go on the beach in bathers. And 100% I know that I'm not alone in that. If you go to the beach, you will see mums doing that. I think we miss out on our own really innate wisdom about life and living and all the things. And then the world misses out on that. When our brain is preoccupied with how can I change this outside package, then we don't have the space within to discover all of ourselves, to discover all of our insights, all of our passions, all of our joys, all of the things that we have to offer the world. And I think the world really misses out because we're trying to make ourselves disappear. I absolutely know that it's hard. And so I want to finish today by talking about what body respect can look like, what it might look like, and to leave you with some strategies to consider and ponder. It's not that we are going to wake up every day and think, fuck, I look hot today. Like, that's just unrealistic. We're human, you know, our human experience has ebbs and flows. But even though we might not look in the mirror every day and think, fuck, I'm hot, we can take steps to show ourselves compassion, to allow our body to change, which is a completely normal, natural process. We can catch ourselves in the moments when we've chastised ourselves, like I did yesterday, and be curious about what we're telling ourselves. Where did that story come from? What are we making it mean about ourselves? If our tummy's not flat, what does that mean about ourselves? If I have some fat at the back here, what am I telling myself about that? Is it even true? It's about taking a moment to challenge those stories and knowing that there is no dress size that can take away from your value and your worth, in spite of all of the messages that you will receive that are loud and convincing that will tell you otherwise. Please remember that those messages are oftentimes marketing, and oftentimes to keep the multi-billion-dollar dieting, health, wellness industry going. Body respect means you move your body for the joy, for the strength, for the energy, not just for the shrinking. Body respect means that you eat because you're human and you have to eat as a form of self-care and not as a form of punishment and restriction. So how do we continue to take those steps? When you catch yourself in a moment, how do you stop spiraling down that negative path? You know, yesterday when I caught myself in the mirror, I immediately thought, that's disgusting, there's something wrong. But I am learning, and this is why I speak to you, so that you can learn also, to ask myself, where did I learn this? Who told me that this mattered about me? Who told me this was bad? I have made a promise to myself in recent years that I will not spend all of my life trying to make my body smaller. I will spend all of my life trying to be more of me, expressing all of me and sharing that with you. So I know you might wonder now, if weight loss isn't on the table, then how do you know that you're making progress? Because we love progress, right? We love to know that what we're doing is working. So progress, ways that you know that you are doing fabulous things for your body, instead of looking at a number on the scale or a dress size, are: what's your energy like now? What's your mood like? What's your strength like? What's your endurance like? How is the way you speak to yourself changed? How is the way you speak about and think about others changed? How is the way that you treat yourself and others changed? So as I finish today, and I feel I'm leaving with lots of things to ponder and be curious about, and I encourage you to be open to that without judgment, just noticing things. What would happen if we stopped belittling, bullying, and saying awful things to our bodies, and instead started treating them with kindness and compassion. I would love to hear in the comments what's something that you were told about your body that's left a lasting impact, and what are you starting to unlearn? In body acceptance and peace. See you next time.